The biggest piece of advice I can give you if you're starting production on a short film project or feature film project is to do what you can to batch record similar scenes at once. This is something we did for day 2 of our feature film project that we are working on right now.
Bounce to the rhythm if you know you gotta flow. Synchronize the steps, everyone get low. Isn't it nice when the people go away? Only you and me and the rest they go astray.
So what I think we'll do is start with the bedroom scene, and then we'll move on to study day.
There's a bunch of study days.
Like I mentioned in the behind the scenes video for day 1 of this project, I'm trying to be as minimal as possible when it comes to the gear I use. With regards to the lighting specifically, I'm only using 2 types of lights. The first one is the Aperture Amaran 60D, and I'm using that in conjunction with an optical snoot accessory, which I've talked about in this video right here. I'm also using the Aperture MC 4-light kit, which is one of my favorite pieces of kit that I've essentially ever used. For one, you can program these lights to do specific lighting effects, which helps a lot when it comes to motivating different sources of light. Different effects include TV flicker, paparazzi, club lighting, all sorts of fun things that you can use to motivate those types of scenes.
Go ahead and sit up for me. I'm gonna position this light here.
Something I've talked about on this channel before is that it's often more cinematic to place the camera on the shadowy side of someone's face. What I did was I aimed it away from his face just enough to where we're only lighting the far side. There's always going to be exceptions to rules like these, but as a general rule of thumb, I find that this gives me the best results. Once everything was set, it was time to use the fog machine, and the fog machine has really been one of the greatest filmmaking investments I've ever made. For $30, it can add so much to your scene when it comes to adding depth, volume, and giving the light something to refract off of. It also gives you a softer look if that's something that you are into. After hitting the fog machine and waving our hands around to try and dissipate the fog to kind of spread it out evenly across the room, we were ready to do our first few shots.
So he's woken up after his first encounter. So he's like enraptured.
Stay right there for a second. The haze does make it hard to focus, but that's okay.
We do it for the stylization.
Yeah, we do. So on action, give it 2 beats, go ahead and sit up, just kind of subtly glancing around the room. You know, nothing too crazy,
Well,
but
he's
just...
like, it's like a snap away. He feels kind of like, oh, he's seen an angel.
Okay, rolling and action. Okay, it's good. Let me think.
Pause a minute before, like a little longer.
I think your timing was okay. I think it was a little exaggerated.
Okay. I'll play with it.
So I would just kind of pull back a little bit. I know that's very vague. Am I give it another go?
Yeah.
Okay, take 2.
One thing I'm really confident in with regards to this project is the visual storytelling and really just all of the aspects of the story that will be used to tell the story. For that reason, I'm trying to dial back the performance as much as possible. I don't think that there needs to be any over-emoting or over-acting in order for this story to make sense. I'm pretty confident in this film's ability to tell its story, just given all of the elements surrounding the project.
I really don't need much from you to communicate this, so just give me a little less.
Yeah. No jolt. Sit
Yeah.
up.
Mm-hmm.
Look odd, but not like.
Another thing is too is like you're looking into this light and like your eye is glimmering and it, like you feel visually we're communicating that you're like, you know,
Ah!
you just you're Moses coming off the mountain and your face is lit up. Like
Literally,
that's
that's
basically
what
what's going on.
Yeah.
Since you got up, can you sit up for me again so I can get that mark? Okay, shift this way a little bit. Okay, split the difference. Perfect. Okay, memorize that spot. Okay, got focus. Go ahead and lay down.
All right.
Rolling and action. Okay, cut. I think that was much better. I think we can pull all of that together though.
All right.
I liked the micro expressions for that shot. The way you were looking around the room and it was less subdued. We're gonna do a wide shot of it. That was the beauty shot. Obviously same notes apply, but I'm just gonna get wider.
Calvino, get out of here. Nope, that's the worst place you can.
He wants to be our fog guy.
No, he wants to freaking suck down this juice.
Okay, that looks great right there. Go ahead and lay down for me. Okay, rolling and action.
Once we finished up the bedroom scenes, we moved on to the interior daytime study scenes. But before we could start shooting those scenes, we had to set dress it. The tricky thing about set dressing this scene was it needed to look orderly and disorderly at the same time. The reason it needed to look this way is because on one hand, this setup is supposed to be this scrappy kind of thrown together setup that our main character put together for his dream diving escapades. But while disorderly was something that we wanted to communicate from a character perspective, it also doesn't look that great on camera. And so that's why we needed to make it look good and bad at the same time. So the way that I was able to pull this off is we had all these wires going in all these different directions. And I tried to rein them in a way that has them kind of pointing towards the main character and away from him at the same time. It serves as a bit of a leading line, but the way that I wrangled the cables to kind of make them loop around each other and kind of go into little spirals, that was all very intentional from a compositional standpoint. And I'm very happy with how it turned out. Once again, for this scene, I only used a single light for it, but this time I pointed it down at the main character so that we could light up his face and the surrounding area, basically just lighting up what's important within the shot.
Really like how these wires are looking. That's all I need. Perfect.
Are you filming this?
Oh yeah. I like how you are. Let me position you again. Put your hand up in the air for me. Just like, yeah. Let's go around. Okay, night, study day. Wakes up on the floor and groggily unplugs himself from the mess of wires. He sits up looking around.
I'm thinking wake up, unplug, am I in frame still?
Yes.
Then when I've unplugged, I'm going to keep it plugged in just for the sake of the tape.
I say you whack it, you miss it, it keeps on going. You've already moved on to the brain wire, and after you pull that up and sit up, then you smack it again. You ever like go to do something and then like you just kind of give up halfway through because you've kind of moved on to the next thing?
Yeah.
It's sort of like that. Okay, cool. Let's do it.
All right.
Rolling and action. Okay, good stuff. Really liked it. Everything's in frame, yeah. Okay, this time I'm gonna stage the alarm clock kind of on the edge. Want it to naturally fall off.
Okay. Mine was, I was like, get out of here.
It looked like you were trying to knock it off. If I can like snake this around. Yes, that's good. Okay, perfect. Almost. Be getting very personal with this film project. Rolling and action. This stuff is the best. As far as like really leveling up your cinematography goes, like best $30 you could spend. Okay, ready?
Mm-hmm.
Rolling and action. I really like that. Can we do it one more time for safety?
Sure thing.
It's a technical move.
Oh, you were doing a focus rack?
Yeah.
Yeah. So the view over that is like, well, that's new, because he's looking up like the sky is turned to just like a massive forest canopy.
I will switch to the wide for that.
Once we finished up with that, we took a quick dinner break and moved on to the nighttime study scenes. For these shots, I wanted to display something a bit more interesting on the CRT television, and so I found a really cool DJ loop on archive.org. It was this cityscape shot, and I was able to display that on the CRT TV by using an AV to HDMI converter and plugging our laptop into it. Once I had that image on the TV, it was time to start lighting the scene. The first thing I did was place the Aperture Amaran 60D In another room, I shot it through a hallway and through a doorway in order to create this nice beam of light that you can see in this shot right here. It's supposed to resemble light spilling in from another room. The next thing I did was take an Aperture MC light, set it to the pull setting, and place it above the TV. I did this to try and motivate the graphics that were being displayed on the TV. Now, this was one of the more stylized decisions that I decided to make for this shoot, but something about it really pulled the scene together for me, and so I decided to roll with it. One thing I really like about these Aperture MC lights is that they have built-in magnets. This makes it very easy to stick them in creative places. So for this shot, I simply placed the second Aperture MC on an air vent, and that was enough to secure it without any light stand being required.
I thought maybe it'd work because, you know, city, but
I mean, it makes sense.
let's roll with it.
Yeah,
Let's just do it.
Hungry Film, use what we've got.
So I like the lighting here. What knobs and things are you gonna hit?
All right, I'm gonna hit this one, and then I'm going to hit that one.
I will use some smaller lights then.
Oh, well, yeah.
I'm gonna do that. So basically, you're just showing up and doing your routine.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna feel out this first one, and then I'll give you any notes. Okay, rolling and action. It looks good though. Okay, I'm actually ready whenever you are.
All right.
This one's just the insert of you pressing the buttons on that thing. Rolling and action.
Whenever you're ready.
Rolling and action.
For the last shot of the night, we filmed in the living room, and it was a shot of the main character coming home. For this scene, I took the Aperture Amaran 60D. I shot it through a doorway, which created the shape that I was going for in the scene, but it also created a really cool effect when it bounced off some mirrors in the shots. This created a lot of visual interest and managed to be a happy little accident. The next thing I did was place an Aperture MC light behind the couch, and I found that this did just enough to light up our main character while he was transitioning from the more well-lit parts of the scene. I took a second Aperture MC light and placed it just above the door outside, and this did just enough to light up our character so he's not walking in from complete darkness. It also helped create layers of light and shadow within the scene, which is a really great way to add depth.
Green. You want to really commit to the black and white?
Yeah.
Make it green so I can never go back. Walk straight forward for me.
I'm doing the Kubrick stairs, Zach.
Yeah, that's what I like to see.
Are you recording that?
I should have been.
Yeah, you are.
Am I? Heck yeah.
Hey.
I don't always know.
All right, whenever you're ready.
I am ready.
All right.
On you.
Completely, actually nailed it on the freaking hanger that time.
The one time.
Yeah. Look at that Rembrandt lighting.
That is not Rembrandt.
You know, doing this just you and me, just really like plugging away at it. It's definitely nice to make progress. And I definitely feel like we made it. It's respectable, right? 5 scenes. 5 scenes.
Yeah, that's
in a
not
day.
nothing.
Yeah, and we got coverage. It's not like we were running and gunning.
And honestly, doing 2 to 3 pages, which is about what we did, in 3 hours is like a pretty good rate.
I would say that's pretty. I mean, I'm trying to remember. Like sometimes they don't get through a page on like big productions.
Yeah.
Just because there's the whole setup and the teardown. So I'm happy with where we are now. Am I still stressed about getting this done? Yeah.
So how did you feel about acting? Because today was the first day that you actually had to act.
It's interesting because you have a directorial style and you want to like draw out of the actor like specific emotions and specific things on camera. And I feel like yours is sparser than mine.
Probably.
And partially that's just because I was a stage actor. That's whenever I was an actor, I was on stage. Every time after that has been, hey, Mateo, we don't have actors. You're going in front of the camera. Which is partially what this production is, really. You know, it's what's the most accessible person to spend a lifetime on set with.
Do you feel more confident about your acting?
I don't know if I feel more
As of
confident.
today?
I'm like worried about like line memorization and like line deliveries and stuff.
Yeah. That's a whole nother part of this.
I do feel a little more like I've gotten what you want. You want much more micro expressions. You want much more like subtlety.
Yeah, because for me, I feel like the story is told pretty clearly through just what you're seeing. You know, the visual elements.
Yeah, you should give the writer a raise, whoever that is.
And the cinematographer. I'm excited to keep working on this.
Alrighty. Day 2. It's a wrap.
Ciao, ciao, guys.
Ciao, ciao.